Life is a series of emotional ups and downs. You know it very well because with age comes experience and wisdom. And just as it works with emotions, it also works with people who come into our lives and are with us for years, but sometimes this does not always happen for life, and they move away from us, perhaps for a while, or maybe forever. But the objective of this video is to tell you that this is not a bad thing at all, or something that will define the destiny of your life. Because in life, you must move on. A person can never define an end for us. You should know that you need time to heal. Oftentimes, we try to run to the next thing and the next thing and get away from the problem by distracting ourselves with the next thing. And oftentimes, we try to run to the next relationship because we were hurt by the past one. But when we are hurt, we don't give ourselves time to heal, only deepen the wound even more and more. I think of it almost as a cut on your body. When you cut yourself and you keep touching it and allowing it to be exposed to danger, you slow down the healing process. But when you allow time for it to grow and heal, you find that you're better much faster. I think it's the same mentally as well. We'll probably all struggle with something in our mind and at some point in our lives, and we try to distract ourselves with things from the actual problem, but that only goes so far. But I find it in the Son of God. I just give it to God's hand. I'm bringing my pain and He brings me joy over and over, healing and being healed. Give yourself time though. Take breaks sometimes. Just sit and be alone for a while. It's a hard thing to understand, and it's a hard thing to try to process by yourself because it hurts. Like the feeling when you first get a cut and you put alcohol in it, or put something under it to clean it. It burns a little bit, but after a while, it leaves you better than you would have been without it. We must understand that everything has its cycle, and if a person has already fulfilled theirs with us, we must respect their decision and move on in life. Because nothing ends because a person is missing. Because we have the ability to be happy of our own account without asking anyone for anything. You just have to have the faith that everything will be fine in the hands of God, since He will bring you something much better in the future. And I'm not just talking about couples, but about a better well-being in your life. An important thing to do is talk, either with a friend or with someone you trust. There's nothing more healing than talking all your thoughts out of yourself and turning them into words. In this way, you will be helping yourself almost without knowing it, since by listening to you, you understand what your problem is and how you can improve. Take your time. Do things that you know you enjoy. Find new activities that you enjoy doing, since after living with the person for so long, surely you've forgotten a bit what it was like to enjoy moments of solitude. Also, let's be honest. In a world with a large number of people, the one who has abandoned us will not be the first or the last to be with us. The world is excessively large, and the same applies to people. So allow yourself to meet more people, and at least if you do not have a relationship, you will have a friend with whom you will share several memorable moments and have great talks, since not everything should always end in a relationship. Do not force yourself to have relationships to avoid being alone. You have to understand that you must first heal, in the sense that you must first overcome a problem, know how to deal with your loneliness, and get to know yourself better, and then any relationship will come, since in this way, you will attract positive people into your life, and you will avoid repeating the same problems as before. Also, don't feel like there's something you did wrong for the relationship to end, or waste your time thinking all night about the things you could have done better. Really, people can change very often, and surely that person has not abandoned you for a specific reason that you are to blame for, or for something that you have done one time, but they have done it for him or her, a personal reason. They were a couple, not a person. Therefore, two people have been responsible for the dissolution of the marriage. If the two people were responsible for maintaining the love, the two people are responsible for the fact that the shared dreams did not come true. Cheer up. To build a different life, we must learn to live in another way, enjoying life and giving thanks to all the opportunities and experiences that we have in our day-to-day. Feel excited for all the wonderful experiences and for all the incredible changes that are about to come into your life. Everything with faith, and that God will help us in the process. In this way, nothing will be against us, and everything will be fine.
Thank you again for watching our videos, and please, don't forget to subscribe to your channel, Motivational Vibes. Feel free to leave feedback below in the comment section. How can we improve our content? What kind of videos would you like to see? Let us know in the comments.
Surely, if you have clicked on this video, it is because you need a change. But not just any change, a real change. The one that changes all the paradigms of your life. If you are looking for different results, do not always do the same thing. That is what I'm talking about. A change that makes a difference in your way of seeing life, but also changes your routines and your habits. Give yourself time to heal, but also give yourself that reboot that you want so much in your life, and that you don't dare or don't know how to do. But I assure you that deep down, you know exactly what to do. You just need a little or big push. Still wondering what you should do? To change your life and your universe, you first have to take the small steps. Those that lead you to the big thing. Change your habits. Eat better. Read more. Do some exercise. Try to get the dark thoughts out of your head and be a little more positive. Because impossible goals become possible with small but important changes in your life. Believe in yourself. And trust your motivations, your dreams and desires, because they are the lighthouse that life puts in your path to guide you toward the best. A great man once said, "The wise man accepts his pain, he bears it, but he does not aggravate it." How many times have we been hurt and taken a long time to get back on our feet? Or there are even people who, when they get hurt, never get back together. Or when life throws stones at them, they keep stumbling. In this life, you have to accept the pain, but it should not take so long to heal, because life is short, and if we do not enjoy it, if we do not learn and do not work hard, worse things will come. And it is not the best option to continue injured at that time. I do not recommend it. If you fall, you must automatically get up and continue fighting to create a strategy and avoid falling again. You must be stronger than the routine difficulties, and even if it is difficult, you have to see the bright side of everything and take advantage of the inevitable problems to transform them from problems to tests that in some way we must overcome. That is why there is no need to fear the obstacles of this life, because if everything were easy, what would be the point of living? Everything would be monotonous, boring. That is why difficulties make us value life more. Knowing that we have to fight for something every day makes the reward more desired and more important. If you give up right now, what if in the next attempt did you achieve your dream? If you worked a little harder, would you get it? Don't let these maybes control your life and make things happen. No person will come to your house and make your life easier just by magic. You have to take control of your life and achieve your goals with sweat and tears. Life is not a movie where miracles happen daily, nor is life a lottery that will solve the world for you. Because ultimately, money runs out in a short time, and you don't need money. What you need is to look for the best version of yourself, and in this way, be happy, living with total peace, taking your steps wisely. Then, believe me, the money will come by itself. But for now, do yourself a favor. Look in the mirror. Heal your mind and your heart. Trust that tomorrow you will make that great change in your own universe. You only live once, so don't waste that one shot.
I love you. I repeat, I love you. If no one has ever told you this, if no one told you this today, this week, this month, this year, or this very second, I want you to know I love you. And I also want you to know that the fact that you're still alive and still on this earth, even though it's been challenging and rough, and sometimes you get discouraged and uninspired to keep going, God has a plan. You will grow through what you go through. Everything that you're going through, at some point, it makes no sense to you right now. But at some point, God is going to reveal to you why all of these issues, challenges, and problems continue to show up, and what you were supposed to learn from it.
What do you do when the clock is against you and you have enough wisdom to do it over, but you don't have enough time to do it over? What do you do when you miss your season and you miss your window of opportunity? What do you do when you know that you've got the desire to do it, you've got the passion to do it, but you look in the mirror and the wrinkles in your face and the sagging of your body indicates you don't have time to do this all over again. She says, I don't have time to get pregnant again. I don't have a second chance at life. My life is over. Go away. Don't hang around me. I have nothing left to give. There are people that when you start running out of time, you get bitter, you get desperate, you start pushing people away from you because they're asking something of you that you don't think you can give anymore. And you find yourself in a place of depletion and it feels like God has forgotten you. But I remind you, nothing just happens. At this age, at this stage, there's a reason why it happened at this age. There's a reason why it happened at this level in life. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. God didn't fall asleep on the job and the devil came in and wrecked the car. No, God never sleeps and he never slumbers. He's in complete control and he knows where you are and he knows how old you are and he knows how much time you spent and he knows what happened to you and he knows who walked out and left you and he knows who betrayed you, and he knows who molested you, and he knows who raped you, and he knows who rejected you, and he knows where you are in life, and he knows about your bills, and he knows about your degree, and he knows you dropped out of school, and he knows about what you didn't get, and he knows about the health of your child, and he knows about the condition of your neighborhood. Understand that and tell yourself nothing just happens. If they walked away, it's no accident. If they left you, it's no accident. If you tried to make it work and it wouldn't work, it's no accident. Accept it as the will of God. Clap your hands, wash your face, do your dance, and keep going.
God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Hear me well on this day. When you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you.
I wonder if you're upset about something now that later on you're going to realize it had to happen to get you to your destiny. It wasn't fair, but God used it to connect the dots. You can't see what God is up to, but later on you're going to understand. A disappointment today, a betrayal, you may not see how that works out for your good until years down the road. What's interesting is every time we got close to the end, all of a sudden that piece that I was so sure was a mistake would fit perfectly into place. You may have some pieces in your life that don't make sense. Why did that person walk out of a relationship? By itself, that piece doesn't fit. You have to wait for the other pieces to come together. God is in the process of connecting the dots in your life. Trust Him when the piece doesn't make sense. When God designed the plan for your life, He didn't accidentally put in a wrong piece. He didn't leave something out. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Everything is serving His plan. He never said, you're going to understand everything. It's all going to make sense. He said, my ways are not your ways. You have to trust Him when you don't understand. God is working behind the scenes in your life right now. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God is not working. It's just a matter of time before your appointing shows up. Too often we have the anointing, but we get discouraged by the process. We don't like when we're not making progress, not being treated right. When you're tempted to give up, you have to remind yourself it's all a part of the process. Don't run away from the process. The process is not working against you, it's working for you. It's getting you prepared. Don't let disappointments talk you out of it. Don't let delays convince you it's not going to happen. You've come too far to stop now. Keep your joy in tough times. When life throws you a curve, it's taking longer than you thought, remind yourself it's only temporary. Don't fall into self-pity. Keep looking forward. The joy is coming. The dream is coming. The breakthrough is on the way. Don't get discouraged thinking that you're falling behind. I should be much further ahead. My friends, my colleagues, they've all passed me up. Don't worry, your time is coming. God knows how to make up for lost time.
Everything that's happening to you is God is processing. Every difficult moment you're having, He just processing you. That's all He's doing. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. And if you need to be tough when you get to where you're going, then He gonna toughen you. If you gotta be more caring along the way, He gonna let you have some trials come your way that's gonna have to produce that in you. What happened in my life was getting where I've gotten to today and where I'm even headed to, I had to be tough. So He toughened me along the way. I had to learn how to appreciate a lot, so He took everything. To really understand the value of money, I had none. To just appreciate simple things, what I'm gonna eat today, where I'm gonna wash up at, where I'm gonna bathe. He sent me through a trial of being homeless for 3 years. I lived in a car for 3 years. All of that I was going through, that I was tripping with, that I did not appreciate or understand, I understand it now, because I'm on the other side of them troubles. And I understand what all them troubles was for. And even though I did not understand or appreciate the route He took me on, it was the route I had to go on. See, the route you on right now is the route you got to take. And it's very uniquely yours. This thing you going through, this just uniquely yours. You just got to understand you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one going through it. Now, in the order that it's going to happen, that's yours. Life ain't luck, man. This is what life is. Life is hard work, life is faith, and life is grace. You just keep the faith and work really hard, and then ask God for as much grace as he can give you. He gives you stuff you don't deserve. That's what you want out of life. Justice is when you get what you deserve. Mercy is when you don't get what you deserve. Grace is when you get what you don't deserve. I just want some grace. I want God to give me a house that I don't really deserve. See, that's the problem with people. They think they deserve something. No, you don't. I work really hard. Everybody work hard. You just need some grace, man. You just need God to give you something that you didn't even ask for. That's when life gets real special for you. So you can want all you want, but if you line up with the will of God, what God has planned for you is way better than anything you could ever plan. That's how you get the life of your dreams, man. Give us this day our daily bread. Don't ask for nothing else. Quit worrying about tomorrow. When you worry about tomorrow, you're off into something you have no say-so in. You have no control. So why would you worry? By worrying does not add a single hour to a day. You'd be amazed what would happen to you if you quit tripping about tomorrow. Today is plenty.
Worry long enough, it'll drop you to your knees. Could reduce you to begging. I know how bad this one is. I used to have it bad. But I tell you what, my advice to you is do what I finally did. Give it up. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's worth it. And I discovered you could live the most incredible life free of worry. Not free of challenge, free of worry.
The Lord knows when is often an expression. I wanted to have more meaning than a casual American colloquialism. I wanted to point to the fact that the Lord knows when is my conviction. It is comforting to say the Lord knows when, especially when I don't. To rebuke the tendency to believe that our lives are chaotic. To know and to remind yourself that God has a plan and he has a schedule, he has a structure, gives comfort, whether he shares it with me or not. It's like children going on a ride and they're in the back seat of the car and they keep saying to you, "Are we there yet?" Yet they are comfortable to ride on the car because they know that their father or their mother has the wheel. I don't know whether we're at the end of suffering. I don't know whether we're at the end of sacrifice. Are we there yet? But I do know who holds the wheel. I'm not worried about where I am in the journey because I know before we got in the car, you had a plan, you had a map, you had a strategy, you had a timing, and I'm going to wait on you. It is possible to be going through a process of healing and know it's coming, but don't know when. God has a when. He's not making this up as he goes. He's not just responding to your moves, your attitudes, and the attacks of the enemy and the things your friends say about you. You are not at the mercy of your detractors, your haters. You are only at the mercy of the timing of God. And God knows when. I might not come forth today. I may not even come forth next week or next month. But when he has tried me, I shall come forth as pure gold. I know how the story ends. And every contaminant that would contaminate my worth or value will have burned off in the process, but not me. Gold don't burn, baby. It may melt, but it will never burn. So if God allows me to put me in the fire for a while, he's only trying to burn off those things that would weaken my value, and I shall come forth as pure gold. You shall be tried, but you're going to survive. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. God has a watch and a timer is on it, and it's already set. Everything is on schedule. I said nothing is chaotic. Everything is on schedule. Don't worry about your purpose. Worry about your season. Because when you get in your season, your purpose will be clear. God knows when. God knows how. God knows what. There are times you go through a season of mourning, a season of struggle. I've gone through seasons of weeping. Not a few minutes or an hour, seasons of weeping. God has a time already set aside. Didn't you hear the bell ring? Did you not hear that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning? Do you not know that God has a win? You don't know what God's gonna fight with, but I declare God's gonna get you out of this. You don't know who God's gonna use, but God's gonna get you out of this. And all of a sudden he began to turn everything around. In one moment, the weeping turned to laughter. And your tongue was singing. And all of a sudden, I am going to bless you so good that even the unbelievers are going to say the Lord have done great things for them.
You know, people they write books about success. And people kill me when they write about success, but they don't tell people about God. You're trying to be successful without God, you ain't gonna make it. You might make it a little way, but you can't stay there. You have to have faith, man. You don't believe in God? Go to hell. If you want to go to hell, I'm perfectly comfortable with that. Just don't drag me with you. I was interviewing this guy, he said, well, Steve, you're opposed, there's no heaven. Well, then I lived the best life I could and there's no heaven. You got a bigger problem. Pose it is. I don't believe God would burn us up. Well, why take a chance? You know the real reason I want to go to heaven? Because I want to see my mama.
I remember when I bought the home for my mother and she came. That was my first major goal. And as she went from room to room, looking at the house and saying, thank you, Lord. No one ever could have convinced me that this could have happened to me. She said, no one could have convinced me that day when I walked in that house and this lady was holding you and your brother. And she said, ma'am, I want you to promise me two things. She says, one, promise me that you won't separate them. She said, I promise I won't. I've never had children. I promise I won't separate them. And she said, promise me that you'll never tell him about who I am, because if my husband ever found out, he would kill me. And she said, as I held y'all in my arms, I never had any children of my own. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew with the help of God, I would do it. My mother had a dream of having children. She didn't know how she's going to do it. You're going to be just like that. Well, you don't know how you're going to make this happen, but you just feel within yourself some way, with the help of God, I'm going to make it happen. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. It's possible for you to live your dream. It's necessary that you associate with winners, that you are relentless, that you never give up. You've got to make it your personal business to make it happen. That it's hard, but you've got to say, I'm the one. But you know it's going to be hard, but find out what will make it worth it for you. The people that are living their dreams are the people that know that if it's going to happen, it's up to them. The people that are running after their dream know they're going to have hard times. They keep on running because they're saying within themselves, I'm the one. I'm the one. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you got to be hungry.
Write this down. God will promote you to the level of your tolerance of pain. God will promote you to the level of your tolerance of pain. At the point that you can't handle pain, you lose the promotion. He promotes you to the level of your tolerance of pain. If you can't take it, you can't be promoted. You can't handle it, you're too sensitive, you can't have it. In the corporate world, the people who get the big bucks are paid to handle problems. You can't be an executive and you can't handle stress. You can't be a manager and your feelings are sensitive. You can't run a corporation and you can't handle problems. We don't put you in the corporate office to overview the city with glass all around you, not to handle problems. We gave you that so that you could process the problem. The big bucks go to problem handlers, people who can solve it, people who can make it happen, people who can get it done. Offenses will come. That's a promise. Offenses will come. If you avoid offenses, you avoid life. Offenses will come. They will come over and over and over and over and over again. They will come. I don't know whether the mail is going to come, but offenses will come. The longer you live, the more things are going to offend you. It is impossible to hide from it. You cannot dodge it. Everywhere you go, you will run into offenses. You must understand that your ability to handle offense will determine your direction for the next 20, 30 years of your life. So when you ask for promotion, you're asking for problems. You're asking for offenses. You're asking, fill my desk with offense. I can handle it. I'm the man for the job. I'm here to represent. I can handle it. Let me put it in Bible language. To him whom much is given, much is required. You can't get the much giving if you're not going to deal with the much required. Let me break it down in colloquialism. New levels, new devils. The higher you go, the more you're going to have to confront with every day.
So when you are where you are right now and you say, I can't take this, I can't handle this, I don't want any more, this is driving me crazy, you are saying, I don't want to go any higher. You are rejecting the call to move forward, because moving forward and moving up means more problems. In fact, the problems that you're dealing with right now may be the fact that you are in training. If you don't let it break you, if you don't let it destroy you, if you don't wimp out and let it beat you down, if you just master the situation, refuse to be intimidated, and learn how to manage the stress on the next level, then doors swing open. There's this magical thing about life, and I believe it's divinely inspired. You know how you go to the grocery store and you stand at a certain spot, you haven't even gotten to the door yet, but when you get in close proximity, the doors just start opening. When you can stand on a level of life where you're dealing with opposition and pressure and turmoil and take a licking and keep on ticking, and it might have stressed you out. You might have felt the pressure. You might have felt like breaking, but you didn't break. Doors just start opening up for you to go to the next level. I'm going to talk more about this in a minute, because when I start talking about dealing with conflict, all of the conflict is not external conflict. Some of it is internal conflict. Because when you come from back there and you start moving up further and further and further, and every step you take takes you to a different level of life and living, sometimes your life is moving faster than your mentality. You can have the desk you dreamed about, the position you wanted, the ministry you wanted, the opportunity you wanted, and everything moved up except your perception of yourself. Are you following what I'm saying to you? And I want you to understand something, that when God begins to move you along in life, it's not an elevator, it's a step-by-step process. So many people attempt to move forward in a rapid motion. They want to go from midnight to morning. They want to go from the basement to the presidential suite in one step. That's not what you want. You don't want to take the elevator. Because if you take the elevator and you get it too fast, you can't handle it. You can't handle it. Oh, I know you want the money, but you can't handle the pressure and the problems and the conflict and the criticism and the opposition. And so God has designed it that you would move along in steps, in stages, not too fast. And every time you take a step, you have to kind of balance yourself and get used to this level of opposition, this level of controversy, this level of conflict, this level of criticism, because again, that's what they're paying you for, is managing trouble. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? And just as soon as you get it all down pat and you've mastered it and you say, good, I'm comfortable now, this is now my new normal, I'm okay with it, then all of a sudden you take another step. You're back in a situation where you're learning again and you're being hit in places you never expected to be hit before, and you're dealing with life on another level. And that happens whether you're in a corporation, whether you're in a church, or whether you're a family and you just had another child. Every time you have a child, new conflict, new problems, new things to deal with, more to manage, more to handle. You just got used to having one. You come back from the doctor. Now you're getting ready to have two. Everything's got to shift. Everything's got to move. Everything you learned about the first child doesn't work on the second child. Come on, somebody knows what I'm talking about. But God is so gracious because he leads you along in steps and stages. And periodically, he will stop the process, allow you to evaluate where you are, to better understand where you are, and put you in a position that you can deal with your heart and mind and emotions that may still be back there where you started. And people are jealous of you and envious of you and fighting you, and they don't understand that you still perceive yourself as if you were where you started. But the steps of the Lord are leading you higher and higher and further and further and further than you've ever been before. Touch somebody and say, take another step. There's another step waiting for you. There's another dimension of life, another dimension of leadership, another dimension of problems, another dimension of conflict, another dimension of faith and finances and family and all of that. And if you don't break, and if you don't bow, and if you don't quit, and if you can maintain your faith in the middle of conflict and opposition, if you can neutralize controversy and learn how to take a licking, keep on ticking, keep your mind together, keep your wits about you, then God has ordered steps for you. And I want to tell you something. Your eyes have not seen, your ears have not heard the things that God has in store for you. He has a blessing for you. He has a promise for you. And all you have to do is stop complaining about where you are. Because when you complain about where you are, you do like Israel. You wander around the wilderness because you're not eligible to make the promotion because you're grumbling about the level you're on right now. You are canceling out the opportunity to go to the next level if you stop murmuring and complaining and say, I thank you for this conflict. I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for this controversy. I thank you for this training. I thank you for this opposition. I thank you for this enemy. Order my steps, Lord. Order my steps. Get me ready. I trust you. You wouldn't lead me into this position if you had not equipped me with everything I need for where I am right now. Are you ready for this? Touch three people and say, take another step. Take another step. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. Don't bow. Don't break. Don't give in.
To challenge your ideas about yourself, because you came out of a history just like I did, where we were formerly oppressed by colonial imperialism, which taught us some ideas that were not true about you. You were trained to be maids and yardmen and farmers and workers on plantation and serving tea, cooking for people. You were not trained to own a business and build a company and lead a country and buy your own oil field or invest in your own gold mine. It's always somebody else doing it, because you've been trained that you cannot and should not try to own an oil company. And so we accept
the idea. So our philosophy says we cannot own that. So we have been trained to be an employee, not an employer. As a matter of fact, we've been so brainwashed by the wrong philosophy that we are afraid to own things. We are afraid of success. Even the religion we were taught reinforced our lack of self-belief. You know what you were taught for the last 100 years in religion. Your doctrine came from another country. Your belief system was imported by people who owned your forefathers, and they taught us songs to sing, didn't they? Songs like, I got a shoe, you got a shoe. All of God's people got a shoe. When I get to heaven, I'll put on my shoe. I'll walk all over God's heaven. Interesting song. So the enslaved, oppressed person sang that song, and they sang it to the master, the oppressor. They said to the master, I got a shoe and you got a shoe. Both of us are God's people. We got shoes. You wear yours now, I'll wear mine in heaven. That's a dumb song.
One way to deal with learned helplessness is to go with the flow for a short period of time, knowing this too will not last forever. Well, you remember a moment ago I said that I might have to leave soon? Well, I already left. But through the magic of technology, here I am, not at home, but in Hawaii. This is the power talk called On the Road with Anthony Robbins. I'm here in Maui, actually, looking out over the ocean. And so now let's get back to our subject, which was beliefs. The power to create, the power to destroy. You and I need to take a look at what are some of the beliefs that can really disempower us. And I'll tell you one that clearly disempowers people that they think empowers them. And that is this belief that we must be realistic about everything. What does it really mean to be realistic? Now, what is realistic is different for everyone, isn't it? Was it realistic for a guy named Disney to look out over a big orange orchard and think, I'm going to build here a place that people from around the world are going to fly into and want to take their kids to, and it'll change the quality of how they feel about themselves. It'll make them have so much fun, and I'm going to build this amusement park in the middle of this orchard, and not only that, but I'm going to charge people just to get in. Now think about that. At that time, things like Coney Island, they charged for the rides, but you don't charge people to get in. That was, everybody told him that's totally unrealistic. Don't be ridiculous. It's never going to work. He was unrealistic, but you know what? He was accurate. See, when Mahatma Gandhi, a guy that was just a lawyer, who didn't really have any leadership capacity up until that moment, when he decided he was going to change the quality of life for his fellow Indians, guess what? It wasn't very realistic to think that with nonviolence, you could get the British Empire to give you your country back. He was totally unrealistic, but he was accurate. When a young man named Bill Gates saw in a magazine that there was this new idea called a personal computer, and that what it needed to be really launched was a system of operation. He called the gentleman who had manufactured it and said, I have developed a system that you can use immediately within your computer. Well, the man was a little bit skeptical, and he said, well, then come on down and show it to me. And in the next few days, this young man, Bill Gates, created a system without ever even seeing the computer. The first time he got to test it was when he was in front of the president of the company. And you know what? The president bought it, and Bill Gates' future was immediately altered. His optimism gave him the power to find out what he was capable of inside, to do the near impossible. And out of that one experience was launched a destiny for a company called Microsoft, which has changed the way people do business around the world. And it made Bill Gates a billionaire by the time he was 30. See, that's not realistic, but that's what makes America great. We go beyond realism. We create a new level of reality by starting with our thoughts, by starting with what's possible in our mind and taking that invisible and making it visible. But you can't do it when you're pessimistic, because when you're pessimistic, what you really are is fearful. See, most people are afraid to dream. They're afraid to be optimistic. Why? They say, well, I just want to be intelligent. I don't want to be Pollyanna like those people that are always pumping themselves up all the time. I'm a real person. I'm smart. Oh, yeah? You can be smart and broke. You can be smart and alone. You can be smart and fat. Smart is not the answer. Consistent action is the answer, and you will only take action if you believe somewhere inside of you that you're going to succeed in spite of the fact that you may have failed in the past, in spite of the fact that things don't seem to be working out for you. The bottom line is the past doesn't equal the future. You got to have enough courage to be optimistic, because it takes courage. It's not being Pollyanna, it's being smart.
That's the key. You have to believe in something that you can't see. You have to believe when you don't see no way how. You have to buckle down and keep believing. God is always coming. Here's the deal. The moment you ask God for something, he boxes it up and he ships it to you. Here's the problem with the pack. He never gives you the date that it's going to arrive. It's going to come. He just don't tell you when. If he told you when, it would destroy the relationship that's required to have an abundant life, which is faith. If God told you you were going to be rich in August of 2021, do you know how crazy you would talk to people from now until then? Because you know on August 21, I'm going to be rich. But he don't tell you when the package is going to arrive. So here's the deal. He wants you to stay in faith to receive the package, because he only delivers to faith. If you step off over here to I don't see how Boulevard, he don't ship. If you get over here to I don't see how Cirque does not ship, he only sends the box faith. So when he sends it and you'd have moved off faith, the package got to go back. It's just like UPS or the post office. If they send you a box and you ain't home, they take it back. That's how it works, man. Let me tell y'all something. Being successful is not a magic. You just have to learn the principle. I got nothing like that to tell you. I didn't finish school. I flunked out. I'm on my third marriage. Lost everything I've owned twice. Been homeless, lived in the car. I am telling you, your education ain't got nothing to do with it. Education ain't in the Bible. Emory is not in the Bible. It ain't Harvard. Ain't. Look, fine. Show me education in the Bible. No, man. It's your dreams and vision. A man without a dream or vision shall perish. That's what the Bible is built. It's what God puts in your imagination for you to have. Everything God wants you to have, he puts it in your imagination. Albert Einstein said imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. Everything you imagine is God showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you. And he puts it in your imagination so you can see what he got for you. So if you've been imagining that you're going to be rich one day, it's because God wants you to be rich. Now, when you going to ask him for it, and are you going to wait for it to happen? Or are you going to lose faith? Here's what Christians mess up at. Well, I guess it wasn't the Lord's will. Who are you? How you know what God's will is? It all happens at an appointment, but you have to stay in faith for the appointed time to happen. I've been wanting to be on TV since I was 10 years old. You know how old I was before I got on? 38. 28 years after I wrote it on the paper. I won't be on TV. It took me 28 years to get on, but it happened at an appointed time. I just never gave up the faith. I kept going because I didn't know how to quit. Because I know if I quit, it cannot happen.